My first day working as a park cleaner was supposed to be simple. Pick up trash, keep the trails clean, go home. That's what they told me. I wanted to believe the park was normal. I didn't know then that it would be the last normal day of my life. I responded to this job ad I saw online. It was daytime only. I get paid cash at the end of the shift. I got an eviction notice the other day. I have no family. It's just me, alone, desperate for any job. And the interview was easy and I was hired on the spot. I guess they liked that I could start right away and that I was open to weekends. The park location was deep in an isolated area and you have to drive down a few gravel roads. My phone lost signal, so thankfully they provided a welcome packet that had a road map in it, already marked in case you get lost. They also had a very short pamphlet that included a strict list of rules to follow. Rule number 1, leave the park grounds before nightfall. Night operations are not permitted. Number 2, radio communication is reserved for emergencies only. Use it sparingly. Rule number 3, all waste must be disposed of immediately. Do not open, do not inspect or examine the contents. Rule number 4, anything found within the park is to be treated as waste. Do not remove items from the grounds under any circumstances. Number 5, the caves are permanently restricted. No entry, no exceptions. Failure to follow these rules will result in immediate termination. Simple, right? At the end of the gravel road, I could see a parking area and a couple of people standing by. A man who appeared to be a park ranger and a woman wearing the company's standard jumpsuit uniform. As I parked, the woman approached me and introduced herself as the field supervisor, Ripley. Welcome in, and I'm glad to have you on board. Did you have a chance to read the handbook? She asked. Yes, I did, I responded. Good. Again, you follow the rules and everything will be easy and smooth. She handed me a radio, a set of disposable gloves, and a large quantity of trash bags. As we walked towards the entrance of the park, we stopped by the park ranger. Are you going to be joining us as I show the rookie around? Ripley said. You know I don't under any circumstances go into that park ever, said the park ranger. Ripley chuckled. Fair enough. The way he looked at her, it was weird that a big burly man the size of a pro wrestler would be that creeped out by the park. As we started the trail, the park ranger rushed to his truck and peeled out. Is he okay? I asked. Yes, pay it no mind, Ripley replied. Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown and tour. Your map is broken into sectors A through D. We have disposal machines at the center of every sector. Your objective is simple, to remove all trash and compost in your assigned sector. We also use a specialized spray remover for the graffiti-infested areas. Remember, everything you find will be deposited in the waste units for immediate disposal. We clean the park, no exceptions, Ripley finished. I told Ripley I understood everything she was saying. I asked about dangerous animals, half joking, half expecting a list of things I should be afraid of. Snakes, bears, cougars, something with teeth. She said that they were all gone, every last one. You don't have to worry about being chased by anything like that. It's a whole different thing out here. She asked me what I'd been doing before I took the job. I told her the truth. Nothing steady, nothing that lasted. Temp work, night shifts, whatever I could get. Ripley nodded as I spoke, though her eyes kept drifting toward the tree line, lingering where the path bent out of sight. She asked if I understood all the rules. I told her I did, but why were they very strict? She stopped walking just for a moment and said, We have to be. The rules are there for a reason, and you'll understand why. Don't be like the last guy who failed and had to quit. She chuckled. We continued down the main trail to a narrow crossroad marked by a rusted sign barely clinging to its post. It read, "Authorized personnel only." The air felt heavier there, like the forest was holding its breath. She told me this would be my starting point. My responsibility is to clean and leave. Ripley finally said his name out loud, the way you'll say a warning instead of a destination. Sector C. Ripley left without ceremony, her boots fading into the hush of the trees until I was alone. I started my rounds, bag in hand, convincing myself the stillness was part of the job. Trash was everywhere. Sun-bleached wrappers, rusted cans, things too ugly to guess their purpose. Nothing unusual for a neglected stretch of parkland. A damaged sign dangled crookedly from a post ahead, its surface scarred with old graffiti. Beneath the peeling paint, a warning remained barely legible. No trespassing. Enter at your own risk. The words should have felt routine. About an hour in my walk, I found what looked like a campsite tucked behind a cluster of brush. The ashes were cold, but the arrangement felt recent, too neat to be forgotten, too intact to be abandoned long ago. A small tent was at the center. As I stepped closer, a strange sensation crept over me, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. The tent was shredded in pieces, torn by long, forceful gashes. Inside, everything was overturned. A sleeping bag half dragged out, belongings scattered like debris after a storm. It looked less like someone packed up and more like someone fled in a hurry. I noticed a dark red trail staining the ground. I told myself it could be anything: rust, mud, spilled food. But my stomach knew better. My hand was already reaching for the radio. I called it in, my voice tighter than I intended. I described the tent, the damage, the possibility of some animal attack, and that it was loose in the park with me. The reply came after a pause that lasted too long. Ripley's voice came through, calm and steady. She said it was not the case. She said that there was nothing to worry about. "We know you're not in danger. Continue working." The radio fell silent. I continued to work because that's what you do when someone tells you everything is fine. I cleaned the site, bagging what I found: a cell phone, spoiled food, damaged camp gear, all of it going to waste disposal. Who would leave all this behind, especially the beer? As I tied off another trash bag, that's when I heard it. At first it was distant. It was like a sharp disturbance that didn't belong to the slow sway of branches. Then it came again. Closer this time. Faster. Something was coming through the forest, straight towards me. I was frozen in place, every sound sharpened. My heartbeat thumped in my ears as my thoughts spiraled into something ugly and uncertain. This is bullshit. Ripley's words echoed mockingly in my head. Nothing to worry about. I pictured teeth, claws, a mountain lion exploding from the brush, a big-ass bear on cocaine charging through the trees. This is it. The forest now violently awake. Whatever was coming wasn't wondering. It was closing the distance fast. Closer. My mind raced, grasping for anything that resembled logic. And then she burst from the tree line. A young woman stumbled into the clearing, her movements wild and unsteady. Her clothes was torn and she was covered in dirt and blood. I could see cut marks on her arms, her face, her legs. Her eyes were wide with something beyond fear. She looked at me, then screamed help right before she collapsed. No longer paralyzed with fear, I ran to her. "Hey, are you okay?" My voice sounded thin. Her hand shot out, gripping my sleeve with desperate strength. "It killed them," she whispered. My stomach dropped. "Killed who? What happened?" "My friends." Her voice cracked, tears mixing with the grime on her cheeks. It killed my friends. What did? I asked. She tried to speak, but her breath hitched violently. Her body ached with exhaustion and shock. I grabbed my radio. This is Sector C, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. We have an emergency here. This girl covered in blood just ran out of the woods and said she was attacked by something, and her friends were attacked too. She just collapsed, and we need some emergency assistance here now, please. The silence sounded forever, then Ripley's voice cut through. Confirm your exact location in Sector C. I described the scenery, my eyes never leaving the woman. I'm on my way, Ripley said. Then the line went dead. In front of me, the woman began to speak again, her voice trembling as she tried to describe what happened, what she had seen. And the way she said it all made me wish I hadn't asked. The woman said she and her friends had been camping. At first, they thought it was a bear. She said they heard something moving around in the trees past the fire, and then the thing stepped out of the woods. She said the first thing that felt wrong was the way it stood. Not like a bear rearing up. It was already standing like that. Tall, straight, like a person. She said the firelight hit it just enough for her to see its arms hanging down too long at its sides, and its head tilted a little, like it was looking at them. Then it smiled. Everyone lost it, and that's when they ran. She said she remembered crashing through the trees, branches hitting her face, roots catching her feet. Behind her, she could hear the thing following, but not the way an animal chases you. No heavy footsteps, no growling. Then everything went black. When she woke up, she was in a cave. She said the smell hit her first. Rot, blood, wet dirt. Her friends, or what was left of them, were scattered across the floor. She didn't know how long she'd been there. She said she just started crawling over rocks, over bones, over pieces of things she tried not to look at. The tunnels were tight, twisting through the earth like something had been digging them out for years. She crawled until she saw daylight again, and have been running ever since. The story sounded unreal, completely unreal. I didn't know what to say to her, and yet something about the way she spoke, the shaking in her voice, the blood crusted along her arms, the look in her eyes, felt horrible. That's when Ripley arrived. She looked around, surveying the area like she already understood everything. I helped the woman sit upright. It's okay now. We're gonna call the police. You're safe. Did you call the police? I asked. Ripley didn't reply. She simply just looked at her watch. She finally looked down at the woman. Are you the only one? Ripley asked. The woman nodded weakly. Ripley smiled. Good. Before I could react, Ripley pulled a heavy flashlight from her belt and swung it. The metal cracked against the woman's skull. The woman collapsed instantly. I stared at Ripley in disbelief. What the hell are you doing? Ripley kneeled beside the unconscious woman and checked her pulse, almost casually. Satisfied, she stood and dusted her hands off. Then she looked at me. People blame animals, bears, wolves, and if they're feeling creative, a serial killer. Her voice lowered. They'll believe almost anything if it means you don't have to look into the dark. But the truth? She smiled faintly. No one ever wants the truth. Long before this was a park, before there were trails, fences, or signs, people lived near forests like this. Small settlements, trappers, prospectors. Her voice dropped lower. And every so often, the ground would open. I felt the air in my lungs grow cold. Not earthquakes, she continued. Not landslides, just holes where there hadn't been any before. Ripley continued like someone reciting something learned long ago. But I'm sitting here looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about? She continued, at night, People started hearing things coming from those holes. Breathing, movement. Some thought it was spirits. Some said demons. But eventually, someone went down there to find out. They didn't come back, but the things below them noticed. The people who live near these places like this realized something very quickly. Her eyes were now on the unconscious woman. Those things were hungry. As she said that, everything around me felt cold and dark. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. They came out at night, she continued. That's when the first villages disappeared. So eventually a deal was made. Ripley looked back at me. We fed them. Her expression hardened. And in return, they would stay here, contained. The park sectors was built over these openings. We don't know how many are down there and what else could be lurking in the darkness. We are entrusted to protect the world from them at any cost. Ripley tilted her head slightly. You'll be surprised how cooperative they are, as long as you feed them on the regular. She looked at her watch, then gestured towards the woman. And now? Her voice was flat. It's dinner time. My mouth went dry. You're insane, I said. This isn't real. Ripley rolled her eyes as if she heard this 1,000 times before. Most people never make it this far, she said quietly. We do give them chances. We post these warnings everywhere. Every sign you cross to get here. You saw them. No trespassing. The park, strict closing times, restricted areas. People just don't listen. Ripley stepped closer to me and put her hand on my shoulders. But I have a feeling about you, she said. Her eyes searched my face with an unsettling patience. So, I'm going to give you a choice. She pointed towards the woman. Would you doom the entire world for one life? My heart slammed against my ribs. She's a stranger. You don't know her or any of her friends. They're the ones that entered this park. They did so at their own risk, ignoring all the warnings. Now you have no family ties, no history. She paused, studying the way my hands trembled. That's why we like to hire people like you. You have no connections. And you know what? No one will ask questions when you disappear. Her flashlight swung slightly in her hand. My thoughts spiraled. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. And yet something deep inside me, some ancient animal part of my mind, knew she wasn't lying. Suddenly, a voice cut through the silence over the radio. This is command to Ripley. Status on a rookie. Do we have a problem? Ripley looked at me. You need to decide, Ripley said. Her hand rested casually on the flashlight again. Or we will decide for you. I thought about the man who worked the job before me, the one they said had quit. Had Ripley killed him? That was when the truth settled. There would be no rescue, no police, no explanation anyone would believe. Only the choice, her life or mine. Ripley said nothing more. She didn't need to, because now the weight of it had been placed exactly where it belonged, on me. The woman finally came to. A weak groan escaped her as she pushed herself upright. Her eyes blinked slowly, trying to focus. Then she noticed the cave behind her. She turned to me. For a moment, our eyes locked. There was fear there, but also hope. A fragile belief that I was going to help her. My chest tightened. I stepped back. The moment she saw me retreat, she understood. Her face collapsed in panic. She screamed no. Then suddenly something moved inside the cave, a slow dragging sound across the stone. Then the first hand appeared. It slid out of the darkness, long and thin, too many fingers bending at impossible angles. The skin looked stretched and colorless, almost translucent in the dim light. It reached for her. She screamed and scrambled backward. More hands followed, dozens of them, emerging from the cave walls, grabbing at her. They seized her arms first, then her legs. Her nails tore through the dirt as she fought. Her fingers clawed toward me. She was pleading for her life. Then more hands slid over her body, pulling her toward the cave. I could hear them now, the things deeper inside. The woman's screams echoed down the cave as they dragged her backward. Her fingernails left bloody streaks across the ground. Then the darkness swallowed her. The hands disappeared after her. Her screams grew distant, then suddenly, silence. Ripley stood beside me, watching the entrance calmly, waiting. "Command, code 4 on the rookie," Ripley said over the radio. Then she turned to me. "The hardest choices," she said quietly, "are the ones that define us." She patted me on the shoulder and said, "Welcome to the company." So now I'm sitting here, staring at the envelope. It's thick, heavy, more money than I ever held in my life. Payment for my first day. I keep telling myself I made the right decision. I keep telling myself it was the only decision. I wonder how many others sat exactly where I am now, staring at the same envelope, trying to convince themselves they did the right thing. But the truth is, if you have been standing where I was, if you have heard what I heard, if you have seen what lives in the dark, tell me, what would you have done?